wish we stayed the same. I got way too many thoughts in my brain. I got memories that run through my veins. I'm not one to blame, but I could point out every way that you changed. Some things stay up while others go right down the drain. And lately we've been going down in flames. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in nirvana. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in nirvana. But if I'm my therapist is saying that I should. I don't believe it, but I really wish I could. Instead, I guess I'll stay misunderstood. Oh, 'cause I'm stuck now, just trying to figure a way out. I've tried but can't seem to slow down, and I don't know if I want to. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in nirvana. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in nirvana. But if I'm can't seem to slow down, and I don't know if I want to. If all my love has got you feeling too much, it's feeling too much for you, then all my love is gonna dance with someone that shows love, not you. If all my love has got you feeling too much, it's feeling too much for you, then all my love is gonna dance with someone that shows love, not you. Just someone that shows love, not you. Just dance. has got you feeling too much. It's feeling too much for you. Then all my lovers gonna dance with someone that shows love, not you.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Mini RPG of the Week. I'm back, having missed week 1 of season 4. Joining me this week is Boney. Boney, going to be a fun one.
I am looking forward to it. I mean, new season for me, first time coming into it. So, I mean, I always enjoy a little mini RPG of the week. So, I mean, I heard we're having I mean, despite the weather starting to turn around a little bit, it's going to be a bit stormy, at least around here in the Netherlands. It's nice to, take a little island vacation, if you will.
Yeah, goddamn clocks changing, getting dark an hour earlier. It's just the worst. Honestly awful. They need to abolish that, and I look forward to the day that they do. The worst part about it, Boney, is for those of us who have pets, because like the dog gets fed every night at the same time. And all of a sudden, it's like an hour earlier than her normal feeding time. And she was just so confused. She was so upset that nobody was feeding her and seemed to be ignoring her. It was awful. I felt terrible for
her. I mean, too right, to be fair. Too right. How could you not be there, honestly? Like, concepts of space and time are irrelevant.
It's unfair to the poor animals. Will nobody think of the pets? With that said, we are in Season 4 now. And Season 4 brought with it some changes to the overall format that we were using during the weeks. There were some accusations on the broadcast last week that I was faking an illness simply to make Sai and OC have to cast the new format and any of the troubles that went along with understanding it for the first time. And you know what, Boney? Maybe they've got a point, because for this week and this week only, we are reverting to the previous format.
Saves me a lot of trouble, a lot of hassle. I did read it. I wasn't able to see the match, but from what I heard, it was better to see and experience to understand than read about it. So hopefully, everybody got everything sorted out during the stream itself. But, I'll just take regular knockouts any day of the week if, I'm just being dropped into a map blind. But that's okay. I mean,
that's fine.
Maybe we should be challenged. Maybe we should change the format. In fact, I'm going to code something right now.
Fair enough.
Triple elimination.
Okay.
For odd numbers.
Okay.
Even numbers will get 4 unless you came in 12th during the previous round, at which point you will be able to get an extra life if you able to finish your time with a 7 at the end.
So it becomes kind of like a Mexican standoff at the line every time, where like all of the top 20 players just like sit there.
They're just waiting.
Yeah, and you're just trying to wait and pull the trigger until it's absolutely necessary. Okay, exactly. Interesting. What an idea. I mean, that is part of what's going on. Obviously, we got some feedback on the format last week, and unfortunately, the person we have making the plugin, I'm actually not sure who is coding a lot of the plugin for us. Zederite in chat may have the answer, but there are improvements that players suggested. We want to take those on board, and we are just making sure that we have the best experience possible when we bring it back. Things like having a scoreboard on screen during the rounds, and actually showing the players who are at risk, because obviously there's a slight difference in that in the new format than there is in the traditional knockout. So there are improvements on the way. Absolutely a name with 2 X's in it, and I can never figure out how to pronounce that, so I'm just just gonna jump into that. It is RXELUX. Raylux? Could be either.
Yeah.
This is our map for this week. It is called Islands, and it has been made for us by Hashnu.
It's I mean, from what he has sent to us, I mean, this is his first map, right? His first RPG map, for that matter, and hasn't been mapping for that long, right? Just a couple of weeks. So I'm always curious to see how much that will. Oh, am I still? My PC froze. Oh,
disaster.
I'm there. I'm back.
Okay,
PC,
we're fine.
Don't scare me like that.
Yeah, no,
but
we're fine.
New mapper.
Yeah,
so,
and should be a lot of fun.
To see.
Exactly, and as we always say, don't be afraid to map for mini RPG of the week. It is a style, I think, that is a little bit more forgiving of maybe some errors early on, right? You can just say, no, I intended that transition to be awkward. That's part of the challenge, and equally so, I think, obviously the fact that Zedorite does a lot of good work with a lot of the mappers who submit to make sure that we end up with something playable for the competition. So, we're always looking for more maps, and we will be up until at least the end of Season 4 here, which is another, 23 weeks or whatever. Now, one of the things that you said before we got on the broadcast here, Boney, as we saw that this was a relatively new mapper, is, hey, maybe there's cuts. Maybe that's always one of the risks when someone is mapping kind of for the first time. And SRK seems to be of a similar opinion that, maybe there's going to be something to be found there.
I mean, I myself, I'm not necessarily an avid mapper, right? Whenever I do make a map, it's just, I don't know, something, maybe some idea, maybe some event. But even then, the amount of maps that I've made can be counted on one, maybe two hands. But somehow each and every one of those has ended up, having some type of cut, some type of thing that I did not anticipate because, maybe I'm doing something with a jump, maybe I'm doing something with a booster, maybe I'm not using too many checkpoints. There are a lot of things that can, trigger the average Trackmania player in the wild to somehow find himself a way to go faster, And it's one of the risks when making, where you're not that used to making maps. You may not have that oversight. You may not have that look into, what players may be looking for when they are looking and hunting for the cut, especially when it comes to competition where cuts are A-okay, just allowed, no problems here whatsoever. What are you talking about illegal wall banks? In fact, they're encouraged.
Yeah. Hey, do whatever you can to finish the map as fast as possible. That's the way to be. And we are watching the GPS at the moment, so this is how Hashnu drove it for the GPS. And that's an interesting finish as well. That's a bounce into the finish. And let's see if I can't find Seafill, because Seafill currently has set the best time on the server with a 1:12. And if there's anyone who's going to be actively hunting for cuts, probably pretty early on, it will be Seafill.
I mean, we have a full lobby as well for that as well. 100 players coming in. I mean, I try to get it. Unfortunately, you're too late. You should have been there. You should have been in the Discord. Should have been aware that this is actually going on.
No. Did I get? I got him. I think Seafill is spotted with SRK spotted almost on the first run there, and there is potentially a turnaround here. Now, obviously, it's going to be quite hard to pick speed back up to get up this jump. Equally worth noting that maybe that checkpoint is going to be a relatively difficult respawn, but it's definitely possible to do what Seafill is doing there. So first potential cut discovered. Now, obviously there is a lot less speed being carried by Seafill than through pretty much the entire rest of the map from there, and is immediately looking for another drop down. It is potentially always the risk with a map where you have a lot of you're descending the entire way, is that if you ever cross back under, you better make sure there are some checkpoints to discourage players from just, taking the fastest route, which is straight down.
Yeah, gravity in that sense is definitely the friend of any and all players in here when they do find a place to drop down in. It's especially when using height, which is very, very common for RPG tracks, is where you run that risk of somebody going the way you didn't really expect them to. I mean, Seafill's still trying to go for it, still trying to, workshop it, lab it. Right now, this is discovery part, right? We don't have to worry about which division do I show in or whatnot.
Yeah.
They can drive anytime they want, right? It's not until we actually get to the knockout stage is where it actually matters. So if there is ever a time to learn these cuts or find these cuts or learn some risky strat, now's the time to experiment. For what the mapper himself also said, map is pretty straightforward, right? There's not a lot of discovery needed in the sense of pathing, right? Where do I go? Where do I drive? Some RPGs do reward that, right? Learning the map and just discovering different routes. This is not so much one of those. This is very much more a more straightforward track, if you will, with a nice RPG sauce and some RPG tricks involved.
Yeah, exactly. Just trying to, as you say, get these tricks down, these transitions as much as anything. And yeah, I mean, we are seeing C-Phil really go for it here. Now, the time to beat already down to a 106. Obviously, this run is not going to do that for C-Phil. And I'll say it, I think, like, you know, there is an interesting trade-off here with the strats that C-Phil is going for in terms of, yes, it's obviously the shorter route, but as always with a shortcut, it's about how fast you can get through it as well. Some of the kind of shortcuts that we are seeing here from C-Phil may be shorter in distance, but in terms of maintaining speed and also just the risk that he's taking on with kind of awkward drop downs, I'm not convinced these are going to be ideal in terms of actually setting better times.
Yeah, it's with the way this is set up, there's these bug slides, right? There's a couple of bug slides involved, and obviously one of the benefits of a bug slide is just taking that speed and converting it. And he doesn't really have that conversion, right? Actually going around the track, doing the bug slide, going forward, jumping into another bug slide. So he's not able to take these risky jumps here as well, right? Yeah. Well, I say risky jumps, the red line, I will call it for that. Because he just doesn't have the speed.
Yeah, and I think the other kind of two risky routes, it looked like he was going to be able to at least achieve them. That last one looks like if you do go for the drop down on it, it's going to be very, very difficult to pull off, which, something to keep an eye on is always how C-Phil ends up actually driving a map versus how it was intended to be driven, as we'll have a look around. We'll see who else we can jump on board with. Can I get Ice? Managed to get Ice. We'll see what Ice is doing. Currently the second best time on the server. And is Ice doing anything particularly crazy so far? Well, we're 50 seconds into a run, so we'll have to wait and see. But this is Ice just doing things as they were intended to be done, it looks like, at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, so far being rewarded. I mean, Yannick's as well, right, doing a good job. But in terms of times, right, a lot of players now starting to hit the sub 110s, 109, 108s, 107s. From the mappers' POV as well, expected a good time to be around 110. So players definitely matching what is to be expected. I'm sure that with still 8 minutes remaining, players will unlock some more speed, some more ways to actually go fast. I mean, 106 already is quite a lot when 110 is expected to be a good time. I'm not sure what the AT was driven by our mapper.
11.352. It's in the top right of your screen, something that was pointed out to me in the middle of season 3
there it is.
After
yes.
literally multiple over a year of the competition. Details. I was reminded about it. Yeah.
I mean, there's only like 20-something times on the screen. Surely,
That's true. Yeah. It's a hard one to note. It's look. There's a lot on every overlay in Trackmania, but it's good information. It's information I would rather have than not.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if with 100 players, 111 starting to actually appear in top 15 is already 109s all across. Yeah. I mean, right there, Ice with a 106 as well. So really starting to speed up. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we at some point start to hit 105s, 104s, unless, there is actually a cut found that is substantially faster. At that point, all bets are off. And,
for sure.
Who could really say, who could really guess what the best times will be. But for now, the bug slide seems to reign supreme. I think the players are already quite accustomed to the track and just really eking out any time that they can get.
That specific transition that we just saw from Ice after checkpoint 3 is interesting because Ice does seem to be making use of that platform off to the right, has decided that appears to be the fastest line through, is just keeping wheels on the ground, which, makes sense. That usually is the kind of fastest way to do anything in Trackmania, is to keep the wheels on the ground and keep accelerating. But in this case, you can see most players are still going kind of to the left. The more intuitive way to take that is to avoid that platform to the right altogether and jump straight onto the sausage block in front of you to get to checkpoint 4 that way. So interesting to see which strategy becomes dominant there.
Yeah. I mean, right now, just look also at the names that we see appearing. I mean, Ice does have the top. Yannick's is in Tufts. See up there, Worker coming in. Marius on 11, one of the players to get very close to taking it during our season 3 finale. But yeah, I mean, a lot of familiar names, Bueno. But yeah, so far 106s, 107s, 108s, 109s. Not a lot else, I feel like, to be said about the map itself. From what the mapper himself said, the first quarter of the track is one to look out for because of the initial jumps, the initial bug slide. We may see some players slide on out. Ooh, Ice there did have a bit of an awkward landing. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that will occur, where simply the exit of one of these platforms will lead to the car being slightly misaligned, misangled, because 3 dimensions and stuff do mean that you can't just just swing it around to the left or to the right to set up for your bug slide.
Yeah, and that is also, I think, one of the things to note is anytime there are a lot of bug slides in a map, they're hard to nail every single time, especially in rounds when you might want to approach them a little bit more safely. So this is one of those maps where, the bug slides are quite a large feature in terms of time gain, time loss, where I would expect I'd be a little bit surprised if we see players kind of repeatedly hitting those best times that we see by the end of the warm-up, because it's not just about consistency, it's not just about getting more comfortable and risking a little bit more, it's about going for perfect bug slides, and that's going to be difficult in rounds.
Yeah, it's just a slight miscalculation, just the angle going a bit off. I mean, at the end of the day, especially when it comes to knockout rounds, consistency is key. And you're better off just going for the safe lines, especially with 100 players initially starting off, to make sure you get into the swing of things, into the groove of things. Before you know it, top 32, top 16 is coming around the corner, and at that point in time, that's when you may want to start to buckle down, focus a bit more on what exactly is happening and going on, so you can actually focus on, okay, now I actually need to get these bug slides right before, you can maybe half-ass it, not really go for the 90-degree on landing, but just, take it a bit easy, allow yourself to land, and then you'll set up. But I wouldn't be surprised towards the end, these players all will be setting up their bug slides perfectly, and that may be the breaking point and the place where we will perhaps see these sad eliminations toward the later halves of the match today.
That was a really good run from Ice up until it wasn't. Was really pushing hard, and unfortunately right at the end there, clipping, getting thrown out of the map. So yeah, I mean, look, we're gonna continue to see these times improve. Rampant, the first player to get below a 106 down to a 105.8. So yeah, players really starting to crush this map, and it's going to be pretty exciting in knockouts. Can we do a C-fill check? Can I click on C-fill? No, we're doing a Marius check instead, because I'm not
it's Marius check,
right. I was interested in the progress of the cuts, and it turns out maybe Marius is also worth checking for that. As
no, I want to say, yeah, I got it. Yeah.
We'll get there. Hang on.
We'll get there.
Is just struggling a little bit with the line on this.
He's working on the dirt.
Yeah, and then
he's getting over it.
The follow-up here, trying to jump really low on this one.
Yeah.
This is interesting.
I can see that working.
Yeah, it might be an instant double respawn, and it looks like it's, I mean, maybe world record strats, but this just feels so risky in rounds.
Yeah, I mean,
just do this.
I do see the potential, but
Marius is cutting?
The safe master? What are you doing? All right. You do make it down.
Does have the speed to make it to the risky fin as well, and of course that being a dirt wall means that even quite low speed you can grip onto that. There is the trick with a dirt wall ride where you can continue to ride it and even gain height at quite low speeds. So interesting from Marius, who's doing some things we may not normally expect from it.
No, I definitely not one of the players that they usually goes, unless a lot of players have already decided, figured out, yes, this is the way to set up. But yeah, I guess Marius, having those same ideas that we have already, seen occur, just coming in with it a bit later, Yeah,
exactly. Let's see.
Now he feels alright if he has the time. I mean, right now, what is his best time at the moment? He is not in top 15.
Not on the top 15, exactly. And that's what's interesting, because I think from what we've seen, we've been on board with Ice, we're on board with Yannick's now. It does feel like the players who are in the top 15 at the moment are not necessarily those same players who are looking for cuts. I don't see C-Fill up there. I don't see Marius in the top 15 at the moment. And this is just looking like very standard driving from Yannick, who's also on a very solid run at the moment. So definitely going to be interesting once round starts, and potentially even quite late in rounds, to see if we do still catch any players going for some of these more unintended routes.
Yeah, I mean, the only time you can really maybe still experiment is if, in these first couple of rounds, but even then, with the way the track seems to be set up and the way checkpoints as well, you do want to make sure that you are going through those at full speed. I mean, yes, you can do the double respawn and there are these save routes built in, but I don't know if there is enough time remaining to actually do that during rounds. But either way, if you have or haven't, now will be the time to actually put in the work. Enough discovery has been done. We've seen the track. We've driven it for like 15 minutes. Clearly, you're world record masters at this point in time, so this is your time to shine to all 100 players in the server.
Yeah, best of luck to them. Right at the end there, with about 20 seconds left, Yannick sets a new best time, driving fully standard route of 104.5. None of the players that we've observed going for shortcuts have gotten within the top 15. So that looks at the moment to be maybe about 2.5 seconds at least faster than the shortcut route, unless they can absolutely perfect that and somehow find a way to increase the pace on that. It does look like just driving standard is going to be the correct decision here on this map. We're in our warm-up round, no eliminations in this round, so I gotta ask you, Boney, how many players are we losing in round 1?
That's a very good question. I mean,
this may be the last time we ever ask this question, because if we go back to the other format, it's very difficult to do those predictions.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's really just one shot, one opportunity, right? And if you mess up, you mess up. Now, taking an educated guess, 100 players, the first quarter already, from what I've seen, some players do have had some issues with it, along with the fact that the track is over a minute long. Honestly, I'm just going to say like 30. I'm just going to be, I think 30. And maybe I'm being too brutal, but I think this map can easily catch quite a lot of players off guard, despite the fact that they've been practicing for past 15 minutes. How about you?
Well, I'm explaining in chat why it's a bad idea to press delete during the rounds, because you will DNF immediately and be knocked out. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and say I trust the players. I trust our mini RPG of the week players, and I'm going to say I think it's minimum 8 eliminated. It might be like minimum 16 for round 1 here.
Yeah.
Because we have 100 players. So I'm gonna go with whatever the minimum ends up being, Boney. I trust them. It's gonna be straight minimum.
Well, I mean, we're gonna find out. 10 seconds remaining before we actually get into it. All the players exchanging good lucks, have funs, gentleman handshakes all around. And yeah, who will be the first to fall here on Islands from Hashnu?
We'll find out. 1 minute and a bit is the time that we expect these rounds to be. So it's 8 players eliminated. Easy peasy, very straightforward. We'll see who the 8 end up being in this one. There's at least one slow start off the line there, but honestly, that should not be the difference maker in round 1. That'll come down to the crashes. That'll come down to whoever ends up a long way down. As we'll jump a little further ways down the field. I'd imagine that every checkpoint is going to bring some fairly large shifts at the moment with all the number of players.
Oh, cut us. Did you see the large amount of players just dropping down like flies? Still not sure. Still not sure.
Yeah, Manjmalabole, I think, may have been one of those cutters and may have failed on the first attempt because was going very slowly into this checkpoint, it looked like. Is going for the full jump and is, well, not punished. There's the secret strats. You catch your back wheel on a light post and it gets your front wheels onto the ground a little bit quicker. Now that's RPG gameplay right there.
There you go. There you go. Use everything to your advantage. That is true RPG gaming. Oh, I did just... Again, still seeing some players just dropping off here and there from time to time, seemingly having some idea about, yes, this is how you're supposed to drive it. But again, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Yannick's coming in with a 104.1, already setting another best time so far. Will be good enough for first place, but this is where, the timer has been set. Players have another 40 seconds remaining to actually get across the finish line. How many do we have?
Well, and this is Sky Scene, who crossed this final checkpoint in 94th place, is now having a bit of struggles getting through then the final one, but does mean that I think we are just going to see 8. This is not the last checkpoint, but it's getting pretty close to it. Baltics is in 94th now, and is getting pretty close to the end. 16 seconds remain. Baltics, you can't afford any mistakes. You might be out anyway, but all you can do is try and get to the end. I think that's going to be it. I don't think there's time left. Baltics, unfortunately, going to be eliminated. Skyscene did make it across that previous jump, at least, but they are going to be eliminated. And there you go, Boney. What did I tell you?
Just 8.
Minimum eliminated. 8 players gone.
I had to trust the process. I did not trust the process, but if for the last time, may as well go out with a bang. I will take the 8, and it's interesting to see. Still some players believing in the cuts, but I'm not buying it just yet. I'm not sure if the rest of the field will be either. For now, again, we do see a couple of players go, but a few, just fewer amount. Definitely not as much as we saw in the previous one. Still, some players do try, but I mean that loss of speed just seems to be a doozy when it comes to actually driving the rest of the track.
No, absolutely. Quite difficult. Ooh, Hazard a long way down the field at the moment. Unclear to me whether or not he did attempt a cut and is now falling down because of it. Is just about making that jump. We'll get a little bit of help from the platform on the right. Overtakes Snow on the way through as well. Seafill momentarily appearing down near the bottom as round's a bit of a mess, but Hazard pretty cleanly back up. Artis is not. Artis has dropped down into 86th place.
Yeah, quite a ways behind. May have been one of those players to go for the cut. I mean, there's still a lot of players in the field, so definitely a lot of opportunities for anyone in front of him to make a mistake, but definitely not one of those names you expect at the bottom of the leaderboards. Still in the red numbers. Very curious to see if he is very close. It does look like player right next to him is the one to fight with. Does make it past. And actually on the wall ride, he does secure a spot in the next round. But it was a little close for comfort, honestly. Not expected for a player of his caliber.
Yeah, that was definitely quite close. And I do think that means Crocs is the last player eliminated. Climbed up to 85th around that final corner, but that's not quite enough to stay in. 2 secs, not war. A message we can all stand behind. But unfortunately, not a message we're going to be seeing for much longer.
No. For now, it does seem like sex has not prevailed.
Yeah. Listen, OC, we do appreciate you, testing out casting the other format, but we decided it just looked too difficult to cast, and so we swapped back permanently, obviously. No, we'll be getting back into it. There was feedback from a lot of the players and from those of you who cast it as well, and looking for all that to be implemented, but it's going to take a little bit of time to implement those changes. And so for this week and this week only, we are back on the previous format. And I will no longer be casting Mini RPG the week. No, I like the new format. I really enjoyed watching it last week. It looks really fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing it back again.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, right? Introducing a new format, there's bound to be feedback and things to improve on, but that's part of the process. That's part of the process. You got to trust in the process, and I'm looking forward to seeing the new and improved, and for hopefully seeing it and not casting it right away, so I get the opportunity to actually understand what's going on.
That's fair. Yeah, understandable. Ooh, do I see Artis on the struggle bus again? Yeah.
He went for the cut. I did see him go for that first, skipping that first.
That first slide. And that was one of the things we called out on it early on. Was definitely a possibility, but it is riskier in a lot of ways as well. The possibility when you're going for a long drop and you're straight down, of the car just landing awkwardly and turtling. And if that does happen, it's a forced respawn. You ain't making it any further. Artis, I think, should still make it through here. There's at least one player going for the safe finish, and even on the risky fin, Artis will get a couple of overtakes. Ends up in 70th place, I think. Managed a lot of overtakes at the end there. Dobry potentially going to drop out on this one. Dobry will drop out on this one, unfortunately, alongside 7 other players. And we are down now below the 80-player mark as things start to move quicker and quicker.
Yeah, I mean, 8 players per round. That's going to cut down quite quickly. It's going to be, a couple more rounds before we get until those 64 players. I mean, that's what, I'm not going to do. Nope. I have promised myself not to do math live on stream. This is one of the benefits of knockout. You don't have to worry about counting points like, oh, they're probably fine. Oh, no, never mind. I miscounted. Forgot to carry the 1, right? Those situations don't occur. Plus, no warm-up casting. I mean, that's also...
that's also an important one, yeah. I've gotten better at not doing it, you know? I've definitely improved.
It's a skill. It's a skill. I mean, it's definitely...
automatically check for those orange numbers now before I start casting around, which is where you gotta be.
Very true, very true. It's still, there's got to be something with this gut that we're missing, because it's really, I mean, plenty of players are still just going for it.
It's one of those things as well where I think it's just, hey, this is what I've practiced, and it may not be optimal. I have learned that now, but I still gotta just keep going for it, because trying to change up strategies mid-rounds is often worse than just sticking with a slightly suboptimal one that you're very comfortable on.
Yeah, it's, but that's true. But at the same time, it's
true. But also,
I'm not seeing it pay off.
Yeah, and also, you know,
also you're wrong.
the other route doesn't seem like the most difficult route to pull off either, right? It is a bug slide.
No,
it's difficult, but it's one bug slide, and you would imagine from what we've seen of who the players are going for those cuts, all of them are more than capable of doing a bug slide.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Ooh, actually one of the players who was able to get quite a fast time, Tefts, finding himself in the knockout situation. Does look like he is going to be knocked out, with Slokes and Wifers actually coming in 60. No, Steph actually shot up to 69. But still eliminated, because that was the cutoff point. Oh,
God,
that is unfortunate.
And there are a couple of players who just about survived then. Yogg, one of them, just in front, and definitely close. In that round, definitely very, very close. Up at the top, just quick time check on it. Yannick seems to be getting pretty consistent with those mid 104s, which a little bit scary maybe for the rest of the field. There's no Scandir to prevent Yannick from running away with it this week.
No big boss, just taking it easy for this week, right? But yeah, I mean, that does obviously free up the space, right? Yannick's not having to deal with his rival Scandir, who have been clashing quite a bit these past couple of weeks. I mean,
kind of ever since the mini RPG of the week Ultimate was announced, and the fact that the top 3 players who had wins across all 4 seasons of mini RPG of the week up until that point would get invites into the 100 players. Yannick has definitely, I mean, said it himself, kind of put a little bit more emphasis on actually going for these wins. And even before that, Yannick was sitting right behind Scandir in terms of total number of wins. And at the moment, I believe they're tied, or Scandir may have managed to take one over Yannick, or Yannick, I think last week might have separated them out. Either way, like, very close between those two, and a pretty close battle behind them as well. Marius would love to pick up another win or two, but the issue is if you have players like Yannick and Scandir, Scandir is not up the top. Scandir hasn't played enough. Hazard was tied up with Yannick. All of a sudden, when you have a lot of these top players going for the wins, they're going to feel a lot rarer, a lot harder to come by in Season 4. And I think especially as we hit kind of the end of Season 4 here, and there's some especially tight battles maybe for 3rd place, they're going to be pretty tough to reach.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. It's I mean, with full stack lobbies as well, right? It's not just the challenge of actually winning the race, it's getting into the race. Make sure
being here
wake up bright and early. Otherwise you're just missing out, right? How else are you going to get that spot in the Liquipedia page? And perhaps if the stars align and you find yourself beating the likes of Yannick, Scandir, Hazard, you may be going to France in just a half year. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, look, ultimately the plan is for the entry fee to be like €5. So it's not.
Oh yeah.
But it is partly just having that booked spot, and also, I mean, the entry fee is planned to be about €5. There's also going to be the entry fee options that have the t-shirts or the hoodies as well, for a little bit more. And I got to tell you, I wear my hoodie all the time at the moment. That thing is very nice. So honestly,
all the more reason. I mean, if there is ever an endorsement, to follow, it is the one who hosts.
Cozy guy. Well, just the guy who's been wearing the hoodie. It's a really cozy hoodie.
There you go. I have been seeing just throughout the race itself, a lot of players have been struggling with some odd some landing bugs here and there. Maybe this is, part of the. It is a new track, or at least a newer map we're making. Starting to learn tracks, making them. So hopefully, any feedback or whatnot, will be coming his way to let him know. Okay, maybe look at these, because I don't think in general, I very much enjoy transitional maps, but a transitional map is very important to have be, when driven optimally, to be smooth.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's...
I also would have to assume a lot of it is just, this is a really nice finish from Joho, up to 54th at the end there.
Joe.
57th. Yeah. I think that first big drop down onto the first bug slide, ultimately, anytime you are making a jump that big that kind of relies on you landing in a bug slide, you're gonna find some times where it just doesn't feel as consistent as some other types of jumps. But equally, that's kind of a part of the RPG style, right?
True. True.
Yeah. Hey, there's a bug slide that's gonna be a little bit hard to nail. If we were talking TM2 maps as well, whew.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it take no prisoners, right? Sometimes you just gotta have the stars align.
Yeah.
That's just
I think,
especially when you do RPGs, that's just how it works.
Yeah. Someone should make a Trackmania 2020 mini RPG map and find a way to recreate Rammstein bugs. Just add really dodgy custom geometry to, custom-made roadblocks.
It looks like the actual block, but really?
What a genius plan. Nobody will hate it.
Someone get on it. I'm sure we can get someone.
New players don't know how good they've got it, and we need to teach them.
Recreate all the campaign maps. It's the Rammstein campaign, right? We have the Icy campaign. We have the.
Oh, you're evil. That's pretty vicious.
This is just the way my mind works. I see these possibilities, these endless ways of torturing the Trackmania community, and I am not good at coding or whatnot. So I just ask players hey, could you do it?
Yeah,
that would be cool, right?
Coco needs to nail this end at the moment. He's currently out, and that's not ideal. It's going to be a little bit slow. It looks like everyone in front might have made it, and I think that's it. Coco eliminated in 53rd place.
Yeah, going quite slow at the end, so must have either decided, hey, cuts, those really work, or had, an awkward landing. And when you do land off on the, you're going to lose a lot of speed, and this track is built around containing and keeping that speed. So it's not surprising that, the moment landing goes bad, the rest of your run will be quite mudded.
Yeah. We did have Headgear in chat saying sorry Coco for being one place above him and eliminating him, but he did add lol at the end of it, so I don't know how sorry he really was, Boney.
It's important, you gotta make sure, you gotta keep it light, keep it breezy. Totally dominated your ass. Lol. There you go. We're just having a good time.
It's all good fun, yeah. Hey, did I just see Seafill jump off the map in a very strange place? I don't know if he crashed or it was intentional. The fact I don't see him in front implies it may not have been intentional, but Artis on this round is showing, hey, this is maybe why it's worth going for that cut, because Artis, who has been going for the cut, leading by about half a second going into the third checkpoint is, well, it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, initially from the 2 seconds, obviously losing some speed from dropping down. But yeah, when he does keep going at that point, a half-second lead. Right now, even a full second. I'm very curious to see what this will be in terms of time. Just a final jump up coming into this wall ride. Oh, but he messed it up. I mean, it could have been. It could have been an amazing time. We'll see what the time is for Yannick's. Worker actually coming in with a 104.7. Now, considering Artis was ahead by a second.
Yeah, that was potentially.
That's the cut works. All right, I have been proven wrong.
This is very much feeling like one of those Seafill weeks. Hang on, just see if Chayan, overtaken by 1, overtaken by 2, going for the safe finish. Did pay off. Somehow ended up in 46th. The scoreboard trolling me a little bit. SRK unfortunately eliminated. So is Nabla, Ajna and Bobby as well. This feels kind of like one of those weeks where ultimately it it's going to be won by someone doing the regular route, and then someone like Seafill will come along an hour after the cup ends and be like, by the way, I got world record using the cut.
Yeah.
And by someone like Seafill, I mean Seafill.
Yeah, it's basically just already telling us what's gonna happen. It's not even in the script. We just have our glass. Yeah, it's just a crystal ball at work. It's the way it works, the way life. Oh, there you go. I was that Artis once again going for it, but he resets. All right, didn't make it. He goes for it again. Ooh.
Yeah.
Lands with a bug slide, but way behind.
Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah.
Also down here at the moment is Ice, a long way behind, and why that's interesting is because Ice is currently in a tie with Marius, behind Yannick and Hazard for most wins of Mini RPG of the Week of all time. So him and Marius very much in that battle for the final slot at the moment, with Hazard and Yannick a little ways ahead of them in terms of wins. So Ice really needs to start to pick up some wins here in Season 4 if he does want to lock in that spot, and getting eliminated this early, well, it'll mean it's not going to be this week, but there's a bit of track left and there is time to overtake people at this finish line as well, and Ice has climbed back up already to 45th.
Whoa, beautiful bug slide there as well, but still has to overtake Neutralis. I mean, that's pretty much the gatekeeper right now for keeping Ice away. Does jump a bit lower. Ice seeming to have a bit more speed, maybe barely enough to do it. Oh, and he does not. Neutralis keeps the gate shut and closed. No entry allowed. Please take your seats and enjoy the rest of the ride from the back seat, because Ice will not be driving along. One of the favorite players when it came to setting times, but it's just bound to happen. You can have one bad round, and before you know it, especially at a stage that we are in right now, right? Halfway, players have been getting more and more accustomed, been driving them over and over and over the track. And especially on this track where speed does mean a lot. Hurts.
Yeah, if only there was some kind of format where one bad round didn't necessarily mean your elimination. If only you then entered some kind of playoff danger zone against all the other players who'd had bad rounds in the previous one.
Imagine.
Someone should try and implement something like that. Artis.
You got a point. You got something.
Artis is slow again, unfortunately. Is up the road from the car that we are currently on board with, I believe. Yeah, you can see is there, but we're definitely seeing the downside of that cut near the start on checkpoint 3. It's exactly what we predicted it was going to be early on, Boney, which is, when you go for awkward drop downs, sometimes you don't land correctly and have to respawn. And very much has been the case in a couple of rounds for Artis. Now, the benefit for Artis is that he is just also a very good driver, right? And if he needs to respawn once, we're still at the stage where he can usually make the time up somewhere else, but we're kind of leaving that stage of the competition behind pretty rapidly.
Yeah, there's no more room to really be experimenting or, trying to get away with the cut. I mean, it does seem like in a offline environment, cut's going to be faster, right? But there's no way. It doesn't seem safe enough to do consistently during rounds, and because you already do it quite early on in the track as well, it's not really something you can just pull out right at the final parts of the track where you're like, all right, well, I have to risk it, I just have to go for it. You have to fully commit from the get-go. But yeah, with the pace we're going, I don't think you can pull that anymore once we get to top 32, if even maybe even earlier than that.
But I mean, look, as much as we're saying that, there's Seafill winning the round with a 105.041, and I can guarantee you he went for the cut on that one, So, yes, it is riskier, but it's definitely capable of putting up very solid times. Now, unfortunately, obviously, the world record is still 9/10 ahead of that, but we've also discussed how even kind of the normal route with the bug slides on it, it's hard to kind of consistently get the best of that. I think the best we've been seeing out of Yannick's is consistent mid 104s kind of, that's been the consistent round winning time from the players who are going for the normal quote unquote route. So it's competitive, and hey, the random cam has put us straight on board with Artis for this round, so we'll get to see, does Artis nail it this time?
I mean, we know he's gonna go for it. That's not the question here. All right, set it up, goes for it. Does he make it? He does get the landing down Yoso there as well, actually. starts to speed away, but is it enough to actually convert into a lead?
Well,
you know what? Lamppost will stop your dreams just like that.
Yeah. That one was pretty funny, honestly.
Yeah.
Seafill, though, is still right up in the mix, and you'd have to assume also went for it. And there you go, Seafill versus Yannick, right? Yannick with the best time on the server. Seafill, you know, going for that cut pretty repeatedly. Still pretty close to each other. It's definitely... It's going to be interesting. I really hope some of the cut players make it in kind of our top 10, because, you know, we kind of rarely see such close parity between cut and non-cut options. And it's always really fun then when you get to final rounds and players are going for very different strats of very different levels of risk.
Ooh, actually, RT's very close to being eliminated. I mean, has he cut his last cut? I do think this...
Nope.
No, he barely stays in. He barely stays in. Makes the cutoff, if you will. Point. Yeah, no.
God, that's good, Boney. That's good. I like it.
Hey. So yeah, no, the cut is still alive for those wanting it to work, wanting to make it happen, wanting it to make it all the way to these last couple of rounds. But yeah, I mean, at top 32, that was what I predicted. We are heading to our last 36 players, so yeah, I think it's make or break. But yeah, he's not gonna stop. All right, he's not gonna stop. I don't think it matters what I say. It's not gonna matter what we think.
Yeah,
he's just gonna do it.
He's gonna do it. Now, interestingly, Seafill got a 104.29 on that round, but Seafill has confirmed in chat without cut.
Without cut.
When Seafill is abandoning a cut, I think it's probably time for everyone else to cut their losses as well, because yeah, that's probably not rounds viable in terms of going very deep in the competition. But I guess we'll see as we get a little bit deeper. There's a lot less players up front going for it that time around, for sure. In fact, Artis, who might be the only player going for it, I already see
he goes for it now.
Failed very early on, continues to fail, and honestly, that might be it. That might be the last player actively going for the cut, about to be eliminated.
Yeah, DNF's there as well, says, you know, enough is enough. I guess I had my fun. We'll take it for what it is. 36 is the best he is able to do using the cut. Very close to actually setting an amazing time with it as well, but for now, the 104.2 from Yannick is still the one that reigns supreme. In fact, it's the time he set during our first round, and he still hasn't beaten it. Nobody has been able to beat it, so it does look like a 104.1 driving regularly is the time to set, right? That is just the expected time if you want to end up in top 8. Yeah. Probably, if not even top 4. So yeah.
Baywhack doesn't snipe out Hostile. It doesn't quite matter if he would have in the end anyway, because they were about a second clear of the cars behind. Baywhack, of course, going to the World Championship, I believe. Is he in the end? Oh, it's been so long since that happened, since qualifiers happened.
Joso as well.
My brain is empty. Did they? No, they didn't actually qualify for the LAN, did they? In the end, no. Unfortunately, they got close. They did beat Sprout. You know, that was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get to keep watching Baywhack, the player from New Zealand, driving for Trident Esports, is still competing here tonight. Which means also, hang on a second, what's Baywhack doing here? He's in New Zealand. Isn't it like 4 goddamn AM over there right now? Baywhack.
It's.
What are you doing here, man?
Gotta get these wins. I just have to get these wins. You don't understand. I mean, these are gaming hours. Let's be honest. These are gaming hours. And Baywhack is a true gamer.
Yeah. So, I just remembered that Baywhack is probably driving an unholy hour unless he's on holiday somewhere at the moment. And doing pretty well despite it. Yeah. 3 DNFs already in this round.
I was about to say. Players, I don't know what has been going on, what's been happening. Maybe, just from the get-go, like, nah, this is not it for me after the first couple of jumps, and decided to toss in the towel. But, wait. Oh, you missed it. He bounced off. He went for the wall right.
Speaking of, there is Baywhack.
Yeah,
he
is. Yeah.
Respawned all the way back in Frontier now. Should still be safe. And will still be safe in this round, but only just. As you're right, I was not on board with Baywhack. Here's
No, it's just on my... But yeah, no, Baywhack was about to finish, but as he descended from the wall right at the end, he actually hit the wall at the top, bouncing him upwards over the finish.
Yeah, Boney, why didn't you tell me that I've just been streaming our faces to you in Discord this entire time instead of the
because
game?
I did.
I don't remember you saying that, Boney. I don't think that was mentioned at any point.
I typed it.
Oh yeah, but like I have Discord on mute because I'm streaming. You know, it's a fair point.
I was waiting for you to realize, to be honest. I've been already in-game spectating. It's
totally fine. You know, I figured that out when you mentioned Baywak bouncing off a wall as I was not watching him. So
I was being blatant at that point, it's true.
I don't even know how that happened, okay? It's totally fine. It's totally fine. Well, turns out Boney can see me this entire time, so I hope I haven't been doing anything too embarrassing on camera. Oh, yeah, Baywak, speaking of...
I made screenshots, don't worry about it, guys.
Where's
Baywak? What?
Had a little bit of an incident, but was actually saved by a lamppost on that first bug slide as he completely slid out and managed to hit one of the poles to stay on and continue driving instead of falling off the map. Which means now battling Hazard to stay in. This is a back of the field battle royale of the highest caliber. Baywak will clip a little bit. Worker, meanwhile, has DNF'd behind them, and Hazard is trying to chase down a few cars in front.
Yeah, I mean, there's still plenty of names to take down. Viper right there, crashing. One of the new classes in Final Fantasy XIV. Unfortunately, unable to drive cars. Goes to show you that using two swords and a steering wheel is not going to cut it. That's only going to work for anybody who's seen that. But that's okay. I like to come in with obscure references that have nothing to do with Trackmania, but does make it true. So clearly the class to play in the next expansion. There you go. Beautiful stuff.
Delighted to hear it. You know, that's one of those. Every now and then I'm like, man, I should get into an MMO, and then I'm like, but time, the ability to do anything else with my life, because it would consume me, and I know enough about myself to admit to that freely.
It has done for me in the past. Those were the best days of my life, the worst days of my life, depending on perspective, if you will. But these days, I am a very, very casual MMO player. I've gone through the gauntlet too many times, but that's okay. I like Final Fantasy anyway, so it's all good. Viper's still alive though and kicking. I mean, right now it does look like Spoder, the one on the chopping block, along with Seafill, but Yannick's actually quite close as well, seeming to be the player to beat. What happened?
Yeah, well, it's Yannick's versus Seafill for 20th place. Yannick's had something go wrong at some point in the middle there, and is, well, starting to drive a little bit away from Seafill anyway. In fact, catching up with the car directly in front, it's Cheam under pressure at the moment. And it'll maybe be a mistake at this point from someone in front for Seafill to get in. I think there is a French car sliding out somewhere in front there. I didn't see who it was. I didn't see if it was true. It seems to have been Tekken, at the very least, has made a mistake that necessitated a respawn and is now trying to catch someone at the finish line, but I don't think they're going to be able to. Goliath is the last car to cross safely. Tekken, Spoder, Artsvelu, and Lucario eliminated just outside the top 20.
Yeah, just barely missing out on our 20%, right? It's getting closer to the 4 players eliminated, ending up to 2 players eliminated. I mean, in some regards, it's nicer to have fewer players be eliminated, but at the same time, with fewer players in general, any mistake will be more brutal. But yeah, last round where we will be saying goodbye to 4. We already saw some of the names at the top get into a bit of trouble, perhaps getting their bat away. At this point in the race, right? We all have a bad round. At some point. Some are, worse than others.
All of my rounds,
as long as you
correct.
can get it out. Yeah. So you can get rid of that, right? You just get that one out. From that point on, all clean rounds all the time. But yeah, it's right now Charlock's actually the one finding himself falling back and forth. Is in 14th place. Seafill again. Chopping block and Marius. Wait, what?
Marius,
no!
Looking for a way to get that checkpoint, but could not find it in the end. And so it is Seafill, once again, as you say, who's kind of stuck in this danger position. And once again, it's Cheyan who's running away just in front. That's awkward from Seafill. Does still have the speed to make it down here over the tree, but it is going very, very slowly. Now looking for a respawn. There is a respawn. Cheyan did respawn after surviving the previous round. Can Minipoos catch up to Seafill? Is there any more respawns in front? There might have been, but there was not. 17th for Mini Poos. Marius eliminated as well after a disaster on checkpoint 4. Seko and Cheyenne will drop as well in our final round 4 eliminations.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, it is to be expected to, see a notable name here and there to be eliminated. Marius did have a good start, but yeah, that checkpoint 4 just really ruined it, right? Just kind of caused him to be so far behind it was simply impossible to get back into it. Also interesting at the same time, though, still quite some time differences between our, the bottom players and top players. So I'm wondering at what point we'll be actually seeing these times align, or maybe not, right? Maybe just because of the length of the map, the transitions themselves usually lead to rounds not being as close as you may have liked, simply due to, cars maybe landing not in the way you expected them or misaligning them in some way, shape, or form. But with just 2 players being eliminated from this point onwards, I think this is where players will start to shine, really start to show off what they've been learning about the track. Still hoping for someone to beat the 104, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. Hey, Zederate, you need to go and update the macros on the winner's scoreboard because the overall wins hasn't updated, but that's fine. We can do that whenever. I just wanted to see who had so many wins because with Marius being eliminated there, the 2 players currently tied for third place, I should say, both gone this week. So it's up to Hazard and Yannick's. If one of them can get the win, that's the only shift we're going to get near the very top of the scoreboard. But in the meantime, Lars is, I think, in sole possession of 5th place at the moment and only has 4 wins. And Lars, famously not here tonight. So,
no.
There's still plenty of time, with 24 editions, including this one, between now and the end of, or between now and Ultimate. Plenty of time for shifts to happen at the top of that scoreboard. Yeah. Maybe it's something I need to do with spreadsheets, but I'm not going to do troubleshooting in the middle of the stream. So you know what? This is where we sit. We'll see how things go from here.
Exactly. Yannick's right there, by the way, driving a 104.3. I mean, if there is a favorite for this track in particular, it does look like Yannick's to be the one to take it. But don't take my word for it. Before you know it, I cast a curse him, and that's the last thing that I want to do. So instead, let's just accept it for what it is. Let the man drive and see how far he gets. Also interested to see Goliath still in the running. I'm not sure how many wins he's had so far, but during the season 3 finale, he was doing a great job of things. Did unfortunately find himself eliminated maybe a bit earlier than anticipated, but definitely one of those players to look out for and still in the running, so could be able to make a splash. Right now, though, Hairgum seems to be completely out of it, and it's Rassasat.
Rakakax? Or Rassasax, yeah. Really fully depends on whether you want to go with hard or soft C.
What's
on
the
that
C
one.
or the yeah.
And maybe they alternate. Maybe it's Rakasax.
Rakasax.
Kind of fun to say. Kind of sounds like hacky sacks. Kind of won't be a problem for much longer. It looks like very close at the finish line there. Less than half a tenth separating them. As that will be Rassakax or Rakasax or Rassasax or Rakakax. One of those 4 just got eliminated.
The rack is out. I'll just abbreviate it. I'm sure that'll AAA going out.
Yeah.
This is where I get creative with my names. 12 remaining. I mean, 12 is. We are seeing. Any slight mistake does already. Cause a big gap of about 10 seconds. But even then, right up until the end, we still see some players struggling with that final bug slide. It does seem like that slowdown that you have from the penalty dirt into the quarter pipe jump. Players not really finding the lines every single time, and perhaps are struggling with the fact that they're not maybe as fast as they anticipate they would be for the jump. We also see quite a lot of players jumping quite a bit to the right already and then angling their car. Not sure if it's necessarily faster, but it does seem to be compensating for that speed loss.
Mm-hmm. definitely does seem to be. Now, Cervantes has been definitely on the edge of the bubble for a while now. A lot of rounds in a row, but looks to be surviving another one here, 3 seconds clear of Kaishok's Antimo down near the bottom at the moment. So our Lithuanian Don Quixote looks to make it one more. Tilted a few more windmills, my friend.
He'll do it. He'll do it. Top 10 secured just like that. I mean, that's a great performance in my book. I mean, anybody in top 10, doing a phenomenal job. I mean, we'll still be eliminating 2 up until 6 players, and I mean, you still can get, a nice spot on the Wikipedia page for that matter.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
It's true.
Pretty
well,
good.
We've locked in the 10 players who are going to Wikipedia at this point. And speaking of Wikipedia, I really should get around to creating the season 3 finale page at some point. The guys over a lot of there's a lot of volunteers who do a lot of good work. There's a few people who do update the weeklies pretty often for seasons for the weekly stuff. But understandably, the entire page for the season 3 finale is a bit of a different beast. And so, at some point I'll get on that. I'll find time.
Yeah, there's a bit more going on.
It'll be fine.
But yeah, I mean, with 10 players remaining, we can see all the names right now in the timesheets. We got Yannick, Slow, Goliath,
that was
Lincoln, you'll miss it.
Just flipping the card.
Luigi. I think with that, Luigi may already find himself in the chopping block. I mean, Yannick's as well. Quite a ways behind, had to respawn behind Cervantes with a back jump there as well. I think Yannick's... Bueno is still in...
Bueno will overtake Yannick's here. Luigi is up and in the safe position somehow. So it's up to Bueno to catch Luigi potentially, because... I don't know how many more mistakes we're going to see from here in the end. You said it. There has been difficulties on this final bug slide, up until this point. But in the top 10, this final bug slide, definitely not the more difficult of those on the map. So you'd kind of expect players to get it clean. Now, Bueno may have gotten it slightly cleaner than Luigi there. Maybe gaining a little bit of a drift. Luigi clipped a little bit. Luigi might full crash as well. That'll be Yannick through and Bueno through. But unfortunately, with 2 cars overtaking 1, the maths doesn't line up for Yannick, who will still finish in 9th place.
No, he made some early mistakes, right? First couple of checkpoints, and from that point on, it was lights out. I had to sneeze. Apologies for that.
Whoa, look at Luigi go.
I'm allergic for Yannick's losing.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Down into our top 8, Boney, and Yannick's eliminated, will not be improving on his total tally of mini RPG of the week wins. We'll see if anyone else can manage to do so. I believe Enos has at least 1 win. I'm trying to see if there's anyone else who's still currently in the competition with at least 1 win. I'm not sure. Obviously Hazard, maybe, but it goes without saying, right? Hazard has many wins. There's a chance that Seafill has picked up 1 at some point, but I don't think so. So it may just be Hazard and Enos who are looking to pick up another win rather than, just improving on... Or anyone else would be picking up their first one, I mean, hey, great time to start picking them up, That top 3 spot, you do kind of need to win about 1/3 of all of the editions of Season 4. But, maybe doable.
It's just, I mean, those odds are possible, right? They are odds, they exist. It's not impossible. So clearly there is a way. They just, need to navigate, find their way through over the next couple of 20-something weeks. And they should be right as rain. I do think this is going to be the end for Cervantes, who has been barely holding on. Seafill with a mistake on that final bug slide as well.
Snow and Seafill are both behind Cervantes at the moment. And Snow might be dropping out. He's going to fall off. Cervantes survives again all the way into top 6.
Wow. I mean, this is what I get for doubting Cervantes.
Yeah.
I mean, Seafill does go out on 7th, who has been... having some interesting rounds, if you will. Having some highs, having some lows. But unfortunately, this time the low was simply a bit too low. So he will be going out. So with Bueno, Goliath, Hazard, Cervantes, Viper, and... Enos, there you go. Because my the screen's changed. The name's changed. It's 1 at a time, and Bueno right now the one in trouble, but only by a little bit. I think this first bug slide is going to do a lot in terms of time. So let's see at these checkpoints. Yeah, Cervantes again. He doesn't have the bug slide as much on lock and key as the other players do, and with a little clip right there.
There was a crash.
There's no
somewhere
way,
behind
right? There's
there.
no way.
Viper is going pretty slow right now.
There's no way. Cervantes keeps
He can't keep getting away with it, and yet somehow he kind of does. Cervantes has just he's pulled a Marius, is what he's done in a lot of ways, which is he's not been incredibly quick, but he has been incredibly consistent about just getting to the end of this map without major mistakes. Now, not incredibly quickly, but no major mistakes, and it's working out beautifully here. I just don't fail this final jump now. Cervantes won't do so. There you go. Goliath, meanwhile, you can see in the distance is leaping directly into the finish line. That was beautiful. Honestly, incredible from Goliath.
Just bringing in a little bit of showmanship right at the end. Beautiful. You know, skips the water entirely. That was the high jump.
Yeah.
If we ever do get the Olympics in there, I'm sure
that's
Goliath will be one of the
pipe
contenders.
Straps right there. You know, just jump straight over the pool if you can.
Exactly.
Although, equally in pipes, much slower. So you know what? Pretty good analogy. Good job, me. Right, I think we have to stay on board with Cervantes because has been slowest through this first bug slide by almost half a second a lot of the time. Maybe we don't because Goliath has respawned. So
no.
I mean, hey, already in the top 5, Cervantes. How far can he push it?
He is going all
There's
the way.
Another crash
the way
there
this is
as
going.
well.
Oh wait, Enos with the respawn there as well. Yeah, Enos also respawning.
This is a tight battle between Goliath and Enos.
Oh my word! It's really that first quarter. I mean, as the map already mentioned, right? That is the part to be careful of, where mistakes tend to occur. Goliath does jump quite low there to try and gain on Enos. Was that another respawn there? Did I see that correctly? Yes. It was Cervantes, and I think right now with the speed that he has, there is simply no way for him to repeat the success that he has been able to do so for these past couple of rounds. Enos, Goliath making their way towards the finish line now as well. So with that, 4 spots have been taken. All chairs have been sat in. Unfortunately, Cervantes has lost this musical round of musical chairs. And 5th place, honestly, extremely impressive considering the playing field and the players he's beaten along the way.
Yeah. Legitimately a very, very strong finish. You know, Cervantes definitely didn't have the pace, right? With no disrespect, because the pace, especially on a map like this, where, as was mentioned by the mapper and as we kind of, saw from relatively early on, it's quite a straightforward route, and from the top level down has been pretty well optimized. It's no shame not being up at the same speed as some of these players to then just drive with the consistency and with just enough pace to get to a top 5. Incredible performance overall from Cervantes this week.
Definitely. I mean, fully commend them for doing so. Hopefully, next week we'll treat him as good as that. But yeah, I mean, for now, 5th place. I think that's going to be a good night's sleep. Can be proud of putting up a performance such as that. But with 4 players remaining right now, I mean, I think any mistake will cost these players the round. Right now, Goliath is lagging behind. Hasn't made necessarily big mistakes, but you can see as we are already making our way towards the final bug slide of the track, he is trying to find every single place to get past him. Bueno hit the lamppost. Bueno going for the cut.
Going for a cut as a result. Obviously has literally 0 speed now, so is going to be difficult to catch anyone, and will not catch anyone. There is the finish from those top 3. But you can see, it's definitely starting to get close, and you're dead right. Goliath didn't really make major mistakes, but still about a second then behind on these other 2 cars. In fact, 2 seconds nearly separating the top 3, despite the fact that there wasn't major mistakes. So there is a lot to be gained purely on driving in any of these rounds.
Yeah, and right now 3 players remain. I mean, Hazard looking for another mini RPG of the week win. Goliath, Enos also, trying to get one up. I mean, did Goliath get one already? Made us one of his first ones?
I don't think so. I think this would be Goliath's first win. Now, Goliath definitely has been a very strong performer in Mini RPG of the Week over time. Enos, that was a really interesting line.
Yeah.
Goliath has respawned,
it paid off.
So what I was about to say, and I'm glad I didn't get it out, is that it feels like maybe it's coming for Goliath. Maybe one is due, but now he's 7.5 seconds behind. So this unlikely to be the week where it happens.
Yeah, something truly baffling should happen at this point, but Yeah, it's simply not enough to count on. You can't expect Sir Hazard at this point in time to suddenly throw in the towel. They seem to be driving this one quite, you know, easy enough, right? Not really taking too many risks. I mean, Hazard concedes a lot of time on Enos, but really, what does it matter?
Yeah.
When you have this much of a lead, and so with that, 105s will do it for our top two in Goliath due to that early mistake. Unfortunately, it's gonna have to settle for a top 3 finish.
Yep, and it'll be a very strong finish for Goliath, but we will not get a new winner in this week of Mini RPG of the Week. Enos or Hazard will add to their totals. Hazard looking to extend that lead out in front. Enos potentially looking to make a comeback in Season 4 and book one of those top 3 spots, an automatic qualification to Mini RPG of the Week Ultimate for himself. A lot of work to do, though, in taking down Hazard. He is the most winning player in Mini RPG of the Week for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, for now, Enos does take the lead off from the first checkpoint, but Hazard already overtaking from the quarter pipe jump there as well. I think this first bug slide is going to do a lot. Hazard going quite wide, where Enos decides to take the inside line. And even though it, did lead to Hazard having a bit more speed getting into the checkpoint, the turn pretty much nullified any and all of that. And Enos having a nice lead, half a second ahead of Hazard. He may already have it in the bag.
Yeah, there was really different lines through that first quarter of the map. Enos going for that kind of inside bug slide, as you noted, has been going for that a decent amount over the course of the competition and pays off really well in this round, as did the different line on the jump. Hazard's line was fine, it just didn't quite work out. Enos once again going a little bit closer inside. That means more speed to Hazard going down towards this one. Loses it by having to drift a little bit. Enos has the lead. Enos should surely be able to carry this one all the way to the line. Hazard gaining it won't be enough. And Enos will win week 2 of Season 4 of Mini RPG of the Week against a very strong field, against a very stiff competition. But Enos comes away with that win.
Yeah, congratulations to Enos. Clean round for both players there. But yeah, Enos's bug slides, its approach towards those, seemingly giving him the upper edge in that track. So yeah, with that, we say goodbye to our islands. Our little island tour holiday has ended for now. So back through this dreary weather, back to daylight saving time shenanigans and whatnot. But regardless, congrats to Enos for a win for the Season 4 episode 2. Yeah, we're in episode 2. I mean, we're on the low numbers again.
This is the thing, but the weeks they tick by very, very quickly, Bonnie. And with that in mind, we're always on the lookout for more tracks for Mini RPG of the Week. Thank you very much to Hashnu for providing this week's map. Only been mapping, as you said, Bonnie, for a few weeks now. And I think a very solid early entry into the portfolio there was Islands. A lot of fun, provided some very exciting competition at the end there. And I think that's a good reason for people not to be scared. If you haven't done a lot of mapping, doesn't matter. We'll still take your submission. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think Mini RPG as a style lets you kind of get away a little bit with some rougher edges on your maps too.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially the RPG format in and of itself is all about experimenting, taking these odd approaches to a track, whether it's simply a theme that you implement into a track, or using different types of blocks to create your own approach to how you should take a certain turn, or your tried and true, maybe some bug slides here and there, some quarter pipe jumps, some wall banks, if you will. I don't know. There's a lot to try out, and especially in a mini RPG, it's the mini RPG is the identity, and it is a reflection of your creativity as a mapper in a different way than maybe a tech map or a mixed map would do. I think there's a lot to learn, but at the same time, there's not like hard rules and this is how it should be. This is your map, period. Otherwise, it's not an RPG. It has to have at least 2 loopings, 1 ice section. Make sure you dive underwater at some point, and if there isn't, unless there's no such thing as that. And any and all mappers, new or old, highly encouraged to make your mini RPG map and submit it.
It's true. And of course, next week we should be back to the new format for Season 4, the Danger Zone mode, or I don't know, the name's probably not going to change. So tune back in for that. Play once again for that, giving players a second chance even after one bad round. Now with new and improved UI elements, I believe, is the plan. Boney, thank you very much for joining tonight. Anyone who hasn't, follow the stream, obviously, but also make sure you join that RPG Discord. There is a link in chat somewhere from Nightbot, at least there should be. And, well, we'll see you back here next week for a little bit more mini RPG of the week. Thanks once again for joining. I always do this. I forget to have the transition lined up. I'm ready to go now. Boney, wave goodbye to the nice people. We're saying we're getting out of here. We're getting out.